What's up, everybody? I'm Rebel, and for today's episode of Rebel's Retrospectives, we're going to be taking a look back at Crash 3 WARPED. Oh, thank God. I passed my kidney stone.
Darn you, Crash Bandicoot!
Crash Bandicoot 3 WARPED, the third game in the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy, coming out October 1998, just over a year after Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. And just like Cortex Strikes Back, this game upped the ante with new moves and improved level design. Plus, this game added a couple new vehicles. But in general, they nailed the level design with some of these levels. Some of the vehicle levels are my least favorite in the whole trilogy, however the best levels here are some of my favorites. Crash 3 is seen by many as the best in the original trilogy, and when I was growing up, it was my favorite as well. However, with the release of the Insane trilogy and finally being able to replay these games in their rebuilt glory, Crash 3 is only my second favorite Crash game. So today I'll be going over Crash 3 Warped and why it only falls in the second place slot. But before Crash 3 was only my second favorite Crash game, it was my first. So let's talk about that. In fact, I think I'll retail this regaling entry with a poem. There once was a boy from Nantucket who begged till his mama said f it. A PlayStation fun, Crash 3 Spyro 1, but Spyro's still better, so suck it. Growing up, I was a simple kid, a straight sucker for new mechanics. It didn't matter if they were good or not. I used to love the Pearl levels, but I never liked the underground levels, because they were too challenging. I also used to think fondly of the motorcycle and jet ski levels, and the bazooka was awesome. And even though now, I think the motorcycle is horrendous and the bazooka is basically useless except in very specific circumstances, I still like the jet ski levels. And both now and back then would have wanted more levels with Baby T. Now with my age and my wizened wiseness, I now know that just because something's new doesn't make it better. Or even good. But that didn't stop 7-year-old me from loving absolutely everything about this game. Yes, Crash 3 added to the amazing franchise of Crash Bandicoot with a better story, a pretty good soundtrack, and probably the best theme song of the three. The new level themes are great. Some of the new moves learned are awesome, like the double jump. And oh yeah, you actually learn moves. A great addition, but one I feel misses out on a great Metroidvania-style replaying of earlier levels. Actually, now that I'm older, there is a decent amount that I feel hinders this game from being the best of the three. The level design can be great, yet at the same time can be terrible. One new vehicle sucks while the other is pretty fun. Some new moves are awesome while others are pointless. This game has some secrets, but they're not anywhere close to as good as the secrets in Crash 2. In general, everything that's great about Crash 3 was exactly what made Crash 2 so great. And the new things that were attempted here really did hinder this game from being the best. And it also led to the overuse of them in Wrath of Cortex, so that's lame. So let's start with what Crash 3 did right. The story. Great for a PS1 game as it was actually somewhat coherent. Crash 2 almost had a coherent story except the whole telling us Cortex is the villain then trying to trick us that he isn't the villain just to reveal him as the villain. So Crash 3 starts after the secret ending of Crash 2. Cortex crash lands into the Wumpa Islands again, this time releasing the ancient Uka Uka, which is the evil Aku Aku, with the name backwards. Aku Aku knows Uka Uka was released, it then shows Uka yelling at Cortex, then a new villain emerges, Entropy. An odd change was that the Uka Uka mask pops out of a temporal crack and Entropy pops out of a warp ball, yet in the original, Uka Uka was shrouded in darkness, shrouded, as was Entropy, who slowly walked from a time platform until being revealed in the light. That was a much better intro. It then goes back to Crash's hut where Aku Aku tells them about Uka Uka over a Nathan Drake photo. Then Crash, Coco, and Aku Aku are on the same time platform that Uka Uka and Cortex were on in the intro. Not sure how or why. Like, how did Crash get there? Where did Cortex go? Couldn't Cortex return there? Clearly Entropy can. Regardless, once again, it's gather the crystals, beat the bosses, rinse, repeat, final boss, boom, game over. Cortex does send all of the bosses, Embryo isn't sending them this time. However, the crystals don't seem to be as important as before. Like, Uka Uka still wants them, but Why? To try again? And you can gather all the gems again. I'm not sure the point of the gems story-wise, but if you don't have them when you beat Cortex, Uka Uka says you didn't get all the gems. Beat Cortex with the gems, and you send Cortex, Uka Uka, and Entropy into another dimension, where they're babies, where they grow up, and that's where Crash 4 is going to pick up. Did I say it was a better story? Because I take it back. I'd rather have pointless, unconvincing misdirection than I would lazily rehashing the same collectible mechanic. Both are pretty bad though. So to get to Cortex and Uka Uka to stop them, you progress through levels, needing a crystal in each level. There's 5 levels and a boss per warp pad. It's basically Crash 2 all over again, which is in no way a bad thing. If you want to get 100%, then you'll need to find all the gems in the levels as well, and the levels this time around are a big ol' mixed bag. Yes, as I said, I cannot stand some of these levels. Others are my favorite in the whole trilogy. However, unlike Crash 2, which reused the jungle theme, river theme, temple theme, and chase theme, and Crash 3's level themes are all purely original, which is definitely one of the game's strengths. The level themes here are medieval, underwater, the Great Wall of China, prehistoric, jet ski, Arabian, motorcycle, Egyptian, flying planes, and future themed, which is very different to Crash 2's future theme. And while the China levels are rehashes of the polar levels, which are rehashes of the hog levels, these levels were specific for Coco, which at the time was awesome. And building on what Crash 2 did in regards to the polar levels, where the time of day was different for each polar stage, quite a few of the stages in Crash 3 have this as well. The motorcycle levels change, the Arabian, Wall of China, and jet ski levels do as well. I may be missing some themes there. Some stages, such as the prehistoric, underwater, and Egyptian themes, don't really change. And some of these themes are great. The Egyptian, Arabian, and future themes are some of my favorites. Meanwhile, the motorcycle, airplane, and the medieval themes are just bleh. And the motorcycle and airplane themes aren't too bad. I do like the motorcycle level's desert aesthetic being the basis of Dingo Canyon, but that didn't stop the fact that the motorcycle levels and airplane levels are just not fun at all. Well, I mean, to me. But this is my video, so my opinion is the only one that matters. For now, your opinion will matter once the video's over. Now when you beat every 5 stages, you'll be forced to play a boss. Yes, forced as all the other warp pads disappear. And the bosses this time are the best that they've been in Crash. Tiny Tiger makes his return, however I will say I prefer his Crash 2 boss battle to this one. And similar to the Crash fashion of not knowing you can spin shit away, I didn't know you could spin lions away. Then is the introduction of Dingodile, half dingo, half sundial. His boss fight is pretty good, if not completely exploitable in the Insane trilogy. Then you have Entropy, another new villain, and his boss fight is pretty good as well. The random platform materialization creating a path to the other side is great. Yes, Entropy is a great boss, but the next boss has to be the best Crash Bandicoot boss that there has ever been. And yes, that is Engine. Engine's boss battle is simply amazing. Being in space, having a spaceship to battle his, Purah joining in another spaceship to go all Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it's amazing. And if more bosses in the Crash game were this well thought out and fun, it would be amazing. I also think this stands out as there's a health bar, meaning if you don't have Aku Aku when starting the boss, you can take some hits without insta-dying, something that usually does bug me about the rest of the bosses. Yes, it's great that Crash 3 has the best boss battle in the entire franchise, but it's also just so like Crash to have the final boss be completely underwhelming and lame. Neo Cortex and Uka Uka, where Uka and Aku dance around while you avoid Cortex and then spin him into the hole in the middle 3 times. It's really nothing special. And next to Tiny might be the worst boss in the game, which for a last boss isn't great. It's always such a disappointment when the final boss in a game is so lackluster, especially when comparing them to other bosses in the same game. However, Crash 3 differs from 2 with the bosses in that the bosses here grant you power-ups upon defeat. There's the supercharged body slam, which just extends the blast radius of the body slam. The double jump, self-explanatory. The death tornado spin, which kind of lets Crash glide. The fruit bazooka, bazooka that shoots kittens, and the Crash Dash, which lets you run faster. And while it's cool to have power-ups, the double jump and Crash Dash are the only ones that I use continuously after unlocking. The body slam is super situational, and I'm normally just trying to do a normal body slam, so there's really no difference. The death tornado gets me killed if I use it for anything except gliding across gaps that it's meant for. And the fruit bazooka, while awesome as a kid, only has the purpose of getting boxes too far away. Boxes it's meant for, or boxes above wooden bouncy crates that I accidentally destroyed. The occasional occasional clearing a hard path, and that's about it. The double jump is the only thing I use all of the time. There's also the crash dash, but being that you get this power up from beating the last boss, there is only one purpose that this will be giving you: time trials. Yes, the time trials I mentioned in the Crash 1 and Crash 2 retrospective are here as well. However, this is where they originated. They were only added to 1 and 2 in the trilogy because they are here in the third. You replay a stage and get this clock at the start of the stage. It changes some of the boxes around the level to time-stopping boxes. There's 1, 2, and 3 second boxes. Those stop the clock for the time on them while you try to get through the stage as fast as possible. There's blue relics, I think maybe sapphire, gold, and platinum. You only need to get the sapphire to have a relic. All golds granted will give you a gem, and platinum is purely for bragging rights. And these can be fun and add a little replay value to the game, but all in all, dying halfway through only to restart the whole stage, especially while trying to throw caution in the wind for speed, is rather annoying. And what's the point of these time relics, you may ask? Well, they unlock secret levels in the secret warp room. Yes, while Crash 2 had secret exits in levels that led to the secret entrances, a sometimes very clever trick or misdirection or illusion that you have to figure out, in Crash 3, you just beat time trials. You literally just beat time trials. You need to get increments of 5 relics to unlock each secret stage, and unlike Crash 2 that had 2 completely secret stages and 3 secret entrances, Crash 3 has 3 completely secret stages and 2 secret entrances, something that I think is better. I'd rather have more stages than less. However, the secret stages here are a jet ski level, a motorcycle level, and an airplane level, all vehicle levels. And while the jet ski level is pretty cool, I would have much preferred normal Crash stages. But I guess I'm just weird for liking the core Crash gameplay. Now, just because there are no secret exits to a secret warp room doesn't mean there aren't any secret exits, because there are. And they f***ing suck. One of the 2 secret exits is in the yellow gem path in Dynamite. Run directly into the second pterodactyl on the path to be lifted away. And I'm sorry, but is there a hint for this? Is there a way to know that this is what's supposed to happen? It seems way too random. The secrets in Crash 2 were great because they made you think. You could figure out most of them just by thinking about it. This ain't that. The second exit at least has a sound effect and a visual cue. The bird flies into a road sign of an alien, and you have to crash into that sign. It's pretty stupid regardless. And the 2 secret levels these lead to are not bad. Hot Cocoa is a pretty fun level with a creative open-ended area to collect boxes, and Agapis Rex is okay. I mean, it's short, only side-scrolling, and has no boxes. You ride Baby T, but you don't need him to beat the level. But the bad thing about these secret levels is that there's no warp room for these 2 stages. The only way to access them is by taking the secret exit each time. Crash 2 has something similar in the original, where you couldn't get to the 6th warp room from the other warp rooms, which changed with the Insane trilogy. However, you could access any of the unlocked levels from that warp room. So you could do all the secret exits once each, and then just use the easiest secret exit anytime you wanted to play any of the secret levels. Having these 2 not even visible from the hub is annoying. Yes, the secrets here are a big reason of why Crash 2 is far superior than Crash 3 in my opinion. If I want to know something else Crash 2 did better than Crash 3, the soundtrack. While Crash 3's main theme is my favorite main theme from the trilogy, almost all of the songs here just pale in comparison compared to 2. The medieval track is all medieval and 0 Crash. The underwater stage is ambient noise, more like some of the stages in Crash 1. The Purah stage is okay. The prehistoric song is okay, if not a little too ambient. The jet ski song is very good, definitely having that Crash feel. The Arabian song once again focuses too much on the theme and definitely just loses the Crash feel. The motorcycle song also, straight 50s diner, no Crash. The Egyptian song here is another great song though, capturing the Crash feel perfectly, as does the future themed song. The plain songs aren't good at all. The boss songs are a mixed bag as well, with Dingo Dial, Engine, and Cortex having good tracks, but Tiny and Entropy, not so much. Then there's the Death Route track, which in 2 was an amped up version of that level's theme song. Here, however, the Death Route is the same song every time, but with a themed twist for each level. So same Death Route song, but one is more prehistoric, one is more Egyptian, etc. Same goes with the bonus stage song. It's the main theme song, but themed after each level type. It's rather boring. So once again, something in Crash 3 that when compared to Crash 2 just kind of falls flat. And it's a damn shame. I'm not sure if they had the same composer working on Crash 3 that they had working on Crash 2, but if they did they just run out of good ideas? And when you add up everything else, another thing that Crash 2 is better at, well, at this point, it's not even a contest. Crash 2 is just clearly the better game. Now, before you get all pissed off and leave and get mad at me, Crash 3 is still a great and amazing game. And it's better than Crash 1. So here's what Crash 3 does right. Certain stages build off of what Crash 2 did, which was improve off of Crash 1. And it shows. Sometimes. The future and Egyptian themed levels are some of my favorites in the whole franchise. They're amazing. They added great vehicles like the jet ski and the They added a great vehicle, the jet ski. They had a story that didn't slap you in the face playing stupid. They had power-ups like the awesome double jump, amazing bosses like Entropy and Engine. It has an amazing theme song, my favorite in the trilogy, and it has a total of 5 secret levels. The colored gems make their return, first time mentioning them, I know, but it's still fun to get the colored gems. To get all the gems, really. The gameplay is, for the most part, amazing. There you go. I talk nice, I built the game up. There you have it. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to destroy the shit out of it for a minute. Crash 3 fails to be the best for many reasons. The first stage is weak. All of the medieval themed levels are weak. The underwater stages are okay, which is actually a testament to water stages everywhere. But the Purist stages are boring. Yes, they're better than the past games and a staple of Crash Bandicoot, but I don't enjoy them as much as the standard stages. The levels in this game either get me super excited or super depressed. The prehistoric levels aren't bad, but you'd think after Crash 2 they'd be more interesting. Some of the vehicles added just suck. The motorcycle is terrible, and while the plane isn't bad, it's just... what the hell is it even doing here? While the story didn't play dumb, it was lazy and did nothing creative, except adding Uka Uka and Entropy. Bosses like Tiny Tiger and Neo Cortex remind us all how boring certain bosses used to be. Some of the power-ups feel like useless filler. I'm looking at you, Body Slam. Most of the stage's songs are lame. A specific Death Root song is okay, I guess, but the bonus theme just being the main theme is lazy. And the 5 secret stages are all vehicle stages, and the secret exits suck. So all in all, Crash 3 is great, and when compared to Crash 1, it's amazing. It is such an improvement. But when you remember Crash 2 goes somewhere in there, then it becomes blatantly obvious that this can only be the second best Crash game. And that's gonna wrap this one up, everybody. Thanks for watching. Oh my god, Crash 4, It's About Time is a mere days away. And I'm still trying to wrap up my Crash Insane videos. I've been wanting to put more effort into videos, and something like this, it takes a couple more days than what I was used to doing, and it's a lot funner for me to do, and it's a lot better quality. But yeah, I have the levels ranked that I'm gonna do, the worst levels, the best levels. That's gonna be recorded right now. I do plan on ranking the bosses, the worst of the Crash bosses and the best of the Crash bosses in the Insane trilogy, but that probably won't be until after Crash 4 comes out, because I don't think I'm going to make the cutoff time for that. And on top of that, Super Mario 3D All-Stars just came out, and I haven't even touched it yet. I mean, I just touched it, but I haven't, put it in my Switch. Okay, I put it in my Switch, but I haven't, started the program. Okay, well, I started the program, but I'm just trying to update it so it's all up to date so I can start. And then it's almost October, and October is Halloween month, and I'm gonna be replaying Medieval for Halloween. So yeah, that's a lot on my plate for the coming weeks, coming months, coming rest of the year. Oh my goodness. But if you're excited for any of this stuff, please make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below what your favorite Crash Bandicoot game is. Are you like me and think that Crash 2 might be the best one of the 3? I know a lot of people out there like Crash 3 the best, and I used to be one of you guys, but I couldn't do it anymore. Let me know, all that good stuff. There should be some videos right there, and then I think if you push right here, you can subscribe. Videos, subscribe. And until next time.